the Mally Mac 88 types. Oh God. Oh God. Lord of mercy. That's something I'm what are you gonna share your thoughts with the Melody Mac a little more? I know you touched base on when it first got on, but are
Yeah, I've been
you
wanting to. It
planning to
was
stream and talk about that? Because I know that you're all into that. So
yeah, like that's another thing that like a lot of my, I guess you'd call it religious education of Rookie with Christendom specifically, uh, is because of fandom talk shit. It started really with Last of Us show, which I love. It's a great show. Barely play the game. I'm not a gamer, so I don't really care. But if anything, I don't want to indulge gaming content at all. But it's such a good story, and the show
mhm.
did really well, despite like an ugly bitch for the main actress. She's a good actress though, and he was like, "Why are they so like uptight about this gay episode? Like, that's a really good episode. Like, yeah, I don't want to see guys kissing, but like it was pretty tame. Wasn't really explicit or anything. Why are they so butthurt?" I'm like, well, there's a story called Sodom and Gomorrah that really imprints an idea about that sin, particularly, etc. But I was analyzing this Melly Mac thing, and I'll probably reiterate on the stream myself, but this kind of rhetoric, it really, I think she's Catholic. I'm not sure. I don't know if anyone's clarified that or knows specifically her denomination, but JJ Trio's really documented quite well her hypocrisy with it. It's just like, it's a weird move to make given all the games she's defended. I shared something of like an old 90s Tomb Raider ad where she's like obviously naked, but she's laying in bed so you don't see anything. And it's like, oh no, not Goonergate, you know, don't let Melanie Mac see this Goonergate of Tomb Raider from the 90s of
Yeah.
OG. No, like her whole Christianity spiel stuff that she does is outside the Gooner stuff. I think it's really detrimental. And it's not to say that I kind of think she has a point. You know, I think Christianity does not contribute to art. And you can say like, oh, what about the Sistine Chapel? Like, yeah, Renaissance. You know what that was? That era, the resurgence of great art in
Mhm.
Christendom. It was them rediscovering and reinvigorating pagan art, loving the body. Christianity, you look at when they took over Rome, they're destroying art. They completely changed the depiction of humans. They robe everyone because they hate the body because the body's a vessel of easy carnal sin. So like there's like a through line logically with the the theology of body and stuff that uh, Puritanism makes a lot of sense. Like you think of Puritanism in the sense of like sexual, everything's sinful. There's kind of a loathing even of matrimonial sex of a hetero couple. Um, Paul, the great apostle, he says like it's best to be basically sterile and not have a wife so you can be fully devoted to God. So like that's like the arguably the greatest author of the Bible is saying that, an honorary apostle. So there's a through line of this logic in my assessment of it. And I believe actually, yeah, like I think Melanie Mac's getting it right about like Gooner stuff. But if she's Christian, she shouldn't participate at all in this gaming stuff because
No,
almost
that's what
all
I'm
of it is
saying. Christians
detracting
wouldn't have
from
nothing to
devoted
do with
Christendom.
it. Yeah.
But her whole spiel, her like F slurs all the time and stuff, it's like it's a gimmick to market to like libs of TikTok sentiment of everyone's a groomer. And even if like theologically she might be sound, um, it really undercuts any reach of like winning hearts to the church. You're just reinvigorating the vocal, like kind of hateful sin, like the Mike Miller types that love harping on gays or sin or something. It's like, even if we like just argument's sake completely agree gays are a detriment to the family and to society, and letting them get married is bad. They're, by your own argument, less than 5%. 50% of marriages are falling in divorce. That's a largely heterosexual problem. You should be fixing the big log in your eye with marriage, as in the hetero couples not keeping the family together. That's the real detriment. The gays, that's a secondary issue. with your religious concern. But the real story of Jesus in the Bible, the real takeaway is that humans were animals. All right. We're animals. We're, a physical thing with instincts. All right. We want to fuck. We want to gorge ourselves with food. We want indulgence in every facet with our animal instinct. All right. And God comes here and he's like, you're better than that. You're in my image. And so I call you to a higher path. All right. That means abstaining from everything that's fun, basically, for a higher purpose of heaven. It's like the narrow road idea. The path to heaven's a narrow road. Going to hell is really easy. It's easy to indulge in X vice. And that's like the real thing. That's like the real takeaway. It's not the love thy neighbor, all these like cushy, hippie, friendly ideas of Jesus. Because Jesus talks about hell, I think, the most in the Bible of any character in the Bible. He's very explicit about hellfire and stuff. They love omitting that part of Jesus, this righteous judgment Jesus. But yeah, the real takeaway is Jesus, this perfect God man who lets you have free will to indulge, calls you to a higher path. Even doing that, you still can't go to heaven. And so he has to defeat death. And so you following him will suffer that death as well, however actually explicit that death is in life or not. And so, yeah, you're kind of called to a miserable existence to like really follow Christ. And, but there's the reward of heaven. That's like the exchange rate. And that should be like the centerpiece of your dialogue about the Bible to people. Is like, hey, this life does suck, like in a human sense, entertainment, whatever. Pretty much all of it's going to lead you astray and distract you from the righteous path. So Melonie Mac has a point, but it's like it's two-faced and hypocritical because she is indulgent herself and she's kind of picky and choosy. And then she wants to like put out her like self-righteousness, but then people are like, aren't you divorced? And it's like, well, that's personal. So she wants to play this like woman card, like only God can judge me with that topic. But it's like, well, don't be trying to,
Right.
be a prophetess to the people. That's what really grinds my gears, being extra Christian. There's still like a decorum I expect and I hold people accountable to. Like, you say you are ex faith, and I know some depth to that, then I'm going to judge you on that. It doesn't matter if I'm a participant anymore. You profess this and I know it. It's the same of like, hey, you're a congressperson, yet you're like doing insider trading, Nancy Pelosi. Like, I'm judging you. And there's this whole dialogue people have today of judge not lest you be judged. They really love harping on that as like a defense shield. And it's like, what do you think the Bible is? There's a whole Old Testament. All the laws are a way to judge yourself and your conduct and your neighbors, especially in your tribal group, whatever that is, to like maintain a standard. All right. And that's how you judge the non-chosen people. And this extends with Jesus. Like, yeah, he kind of omits all the Jewish laws of like eating and shit and clothing. But there's still like things you got to follow, and Jesus dictates the parameters of marriage of one man, one woman. It's eternal. You're an adulteress if you're remarried. So, and divorce should never be a thing. And she's divorced. So like, that's like something you got to square. And so that's what really bothers me with her. Is like, I think she really, I'm not against people being Christian. Like, obviously I don't believe in it. I think there's a lot of flaws with the ideology, but there's a through line that is admirable. And I want to be someone that's like, well, if you're Christian, then like know your faith. Don't just be a follower blindly because it's like cool or it's your in group. Like, actually investigate your faith. Some of the most best saints in history were like the most doubtful people. They're always questioning, like, is this really worth it? How is there all this evil and sin and suffering if God's here? What, like, it's hard idea to square, and they just kind of put their faith behind Christ. And that's admirable, but they were totally aware and looked in the mirror every day with that problem. That's more admirable to me than just like going with the flow and the Bible says. The Bible didn't come out for 300 years after Christianity started, so you only have the Old Testament at that point. And so it's just a lot of flawed thinking and a lot of two-facedness, and That's what I really hate about Melanie Mac.